Hi, this is Renee Romeo. Today I'm going to show you how to re-grout a shower. In my case, I have travertine marble, which is pretty craggy. The people that installed this, I did not do this, but the people that installed this didn't quite do it right. Basically what you're supposed to do when you grout tile or marble or a natural stone, you go over the top of it and you make sure that it's a nice smooth finish. And basically what they've done here is they've missed a lot of spots. There are a lot of indentations and the cragginess, and so what happens as a result of that is that when you're showering, the water gets stuck in there and you get mold growth in all of these little spaces. So I'm going to go over the top of it. Yes, you can re-grout over existing grout. It'll adhere, no problem. And I'll just show you it's the same exact process as it is for regular grouting if you don't have any grout at all on your tile. And if you do need to, in my case I don't need to, but if you do need to remove some of the grout from the lines, if that's what you're interested in doing, there's a little tool, it's about yay big, it's got a little wheel on it, and basically you just take that wheel and go up and down, and miraculously it breaks up the grout and gives you enough surface adhesion so that the grout can get back in there and fill in those spaces. So if your grout is discolored, that's something that you can do. So the process right now is I have washed it down with dishwashing liquid and a nice scrub brush, and I've let it dry. And I've protected my floor with a sheet, so that way if any of the grout falls, it's not going to disturb what's going on the floor because it's a different color grout. So let's go ahead and get started. Your first step is to mix your grout, and I have a cup of water in the bottom of this used bucket. So what I'm going to do, you always have to start out with the water in the bottom of the bucket and add the powder to it and then mix it. So basically, I'm just going to add a little bit at a time until I get a peanut butter consistency. So I'll go ahead and start that. And it's better to mix just a little bit and add to it as you go. I have it mixed up, and you'll see it's a really beautiful mixture, very much like peanut butter. So that's exactly what you want. This happens to be an unsanded grout. Unsanded grout is what you use for natural stone, marble, that kind of thing. And they're for smaller joints, which is exactly what I have. If you have larger joints or you have like a porcelain tile, go ahead and use the sanded version. It'll hold up a lot better with those larger joints. So from this point, let's just go over what we need. I have a grout float. It's a piece of sponge attached to this little tool. Mine has seen a lot of miles, so this is what you're going to need to apply the grout to the tile. I also have a bucket of warm water ready to go to wipe down the grout once it's dried a little bit. And I have a sponge, which has seen a lot of miles too. So these are the things that you're going to need, very, very simple tools to get your job done. And I will go ahead and start applying. So I've grabbed a little bit onto my float, my grout float. And the way that I'm going to apply this is I can go ahead and smear it over the top of the tile, making sure that I get it in all of those crevices. And you'll see how I'm holding this. I'm holding this at a 45-degree angle, making sure that it's getting into all those little pockets. And then I'll go back over and try to remove as much as possible with this grout float, so that I'm not doing as much heavy-duty work to try to wipe that down with the warm water. So that's the process. It's going to go over the entire surface, and you'll kind of see, hopefully on the camera, where all these little crevices are being filled in by the new grout. I'll just give you another vantage point as to the angle that you use with this grout float to make things easier for you. So basically, you're going to go over this and smear it on. Now, it does take a bit of elbow grease, but it's better to do it now than have to take this off with water. So I'll clean off my float on the edge of my bucket, and then I'll show you this. Now, as I'm doing this, I'm revealing the pattern of the marble, and you want to be able to see that, because if you don't see that, you're leaving too much of the product behind. This is leaving a really nice, even coating all along the surface of the marble, and it's going to make your job in the next step so much easier. So on the back of the grout, it says to wait 30 to 40 minutes before you actually wipe this off with a damp sponge. It's probably been about 45 to 50 minutes to do all of the shower, and I decided to do that because I really want this to harden a bit more. And I think the problem with the first time around was that they didn't wait long enough to actually wipe this off and wiped away too much of the grout, and they left a lot of divots throughout the surface. So I have my, my damp sponge, and I'm just going to go ahead and wipe this down. You'll see that there's a really nice white haze over the top of this, and that's exactly what you want before you come back in with your wet sponge. And as I'm going, my pressure, it's not light pressure and it's not heavy pressure. It's somewhere in between, and it's because I don't want to press that grout out of those divots that I'm trying to fill. When you get to other areas where you may have left a little bit too much grout behind, and this is where it comes in, to removing as much as possible with that grout float tool. If you have little corners or stuff, just get the corner of your sponge in there and try to get that out as evenly as possible, because that is going to happen. And then the other thing is that when you start putting your grout on, you might notice that it's a bit darker than what it's going to dry as, and you'll see the difference between the wet grout and the semi-dry grout. So don't get nervous when you first put it on. It's been about an hour, and everything is all hazed over again, only it's a light coat this time. So I have an old towel, and basically it's just going to be a matter of buffing this off, and it'll reveal the surface underneath and give you a really nice, clean finish that's ready to go. It does take a little bit of elbow grease though. The project is complete. It looks great. Everything is nice and even. It's evened out all of the seams in between all of the tile. So that was really my primary goal. If you have a project like this where you need to change either the grout color, refresh, it's a very simple project. It took maybe start to finish about 3 hours for a project this size. So it's not an intimidating thing. Just make sure that you leave a good chunk of time so you're not distracted in between the steps. And you'll have a very easy time of it, just like I did. This is Renee Romeo. Thank you for watching, and until next project, I'll see you then.